नमस्कार मैत्रिणींनो. मराठी मैत्रिणी बेंगळुरू प्रस्तुत नारीची 9 रूपे या कार्यक्रमात तुमचे पुन्हा एकदा स्वागत. आज विजयादशमी. तुम्हा सर्वांना विजयादशमीच्या हार्दिक शुभेच्छा. आजच्या दिवशी आपण 2 एपिसोड सादर करणार आहोत, ज्यातला एक एपिसोड आत्ता असेल आणि एक असेल 10 वाजता, तेव्हा नक्की बघा. आजच्या कार्यक्रमात आपल्याला भेटायला येणार आहेत कॅब दोस्त या सोशल एंटरप्राइजच्या फाउंडर यमुनाताई शास्त्री. कॅब ड्रायव्हर्सना टॅक्स प्लॅनिंग विषयी आवश्यक सुविधा देऊन त्यांचे आर्थिक भविष्य सुरक्षित करणे हे या एंटरप्राइजचे मुख्य काम आहे. अशा या वेगळ्या कंपनीविषयी जाणून घेऊयात. यमुनाताई, तुमचे खूप स्वागत.
Hi, myself Yamuna Shastri, founder of Cab Dost. Happy Navratri to all. Special thanks to Marathi Maitri Sangha for giving me this opportunity. I'm here to share my journey of building Cab Dost. I used to work with KPMG in 2013 I used to work with KPMG in 2013 as a senior risk consultant. Post that, I moved to teaching profession, and I personally had a thought process to start something of my own. That's how I started thinking about different ideas and what are the problem statements that I can actually solve. And this was just running parallelly where I wanted to even pursue my PhD. But it was a time when I met my co-founder Shafiq, when I understood that the car rental businesses or the cab drivers did not have any financial inclusion or financial awareness. So we decided, let's do a small survey. We met around 3,000 taxi drivers in 2015 and understood that what are the different problems that they have. They were not aware of they were not aware of tax filing. They were not aware of insurance. They did not know the difference between personal accident insurance and they did not know the difference between the personal accident insurance and medical insurance and a lot of things. That was a time when most of these cab segments were moving from cash to digital economy. One thing that you need to think of, that in my personal journey is I'm just yet another simple girl who grew up in a middle class family, traditional thought process. But it was that moment when I met most of these taxi drivers on the ground, near the taxi drivers mess, or near the airports, or near the mall. When I interacted and when I just felt that moment where, oh, my knowledge or my learning can implement or can solve a problem, that was like a very important that was like a very important transformation of my personal journey. So we started Capdos to support taxi drivers to help file their income tax returns. It's very niche. We were replicating a big four in the bottom of the pyramid, or the most underserved segments. This was taxi drivers, auto drivers, delivery partners, small unorganized vendors, a lot of people on the segment. But where do we start was a question. And I personally feel, let us do one thing and let's do it right. The taxi segment was big enough where they were all contract workforce, no employer-employee relationship. They neither belong to airport, nor belong to aggregators, nor belong to tours and travels. Everybody were like self-employed. But when they went to bank, or when they went to a chartered accountant firm, when they wanted to avail any financial services, they were not treated equal. So that's how we started Capdos. I personally feel you don't need money to kickstart something. You need to have that sheer passion and perseverance to take something, to dream big. We started our business with an investment of 250 rupees, and today we are going through a very transformational journey where we are merging with a very large institutional organization. This is a powerful journey for us since last 4 years. What is important is, we need to know what problem statement are we solving, and there's always this personal and professional clashes. I don't personally believe there's this women who's running a startup or men who's starting a company. Everybody are same, but it just with women, it's a very sheer determination to do something. It was not an easy journey Can you even imagine there's a set of like 10 to 20,000 taxi drivers across in the airport or in the places, and you're going at morning 4 a.m. or talking at midnight, like 9 to 11 a.m. 9 to 11 p.m. and talking to the people, explaining what it is. And you know, tax filing is such a tough understanding. Today we have processed with the team together around more than 50,000 tax returns, and more than 10 crore TDS refunds have gone back. This is something personally we feel as a proud journey for us, because we are not only working, we are not only helping people come on board to work with us, but also impacting millions of, like, impacting lives outright there, so that you know they get their tax dues back. They get to create their own income proof. They also become financially literate. You know, a lot of times what happens is small simple things like having same name and date of birth on PAN and Aadhaar. You know, we are only conscious about what photo is there on the documents, but not on what information. You know, some sensible conversations is something that can make or break where we are. So we have done around financial literacy sessions for more than 15,000 partners, and we have done career counseling for taxi drivers, children. We have done health campaigns with the Apollo Foundation, multiple other partners with Muthoot FinCorp. We have reached out and done eye camps, and you know, impacted more than 10,000 taxi drivers through our various health campaigns. Something which is very close to me was oral cancer screening campaign. You know, I think the way, if you're an entrepreneur or if you're starting something, you need to eat, sleep, breathe what you're doing. I work with the team. I work with Lakshmi Paturi, one of my bosses at Ink Talks. 3 years was an amazing on the ground journey for me. I personally believe that if you dream big and universe has a plan, you don't need to deviate. All we need to do is just concentrate on what we are doing and pursue that to next level. The journey was not as easy. I had um, lot of issues on the ground, off the ground, at personal level, and people. You know, one more thing. You know, when you walk out and say you want to do something, there could be, you may not have zero support, but remember one thing: if your vision and the power is such that it's so powerful, things will fall in place. Um, my father was not, he was very fussy, and you know, he was like, when you are going to KPMG, the cab used to come and pick you up. Now you're running behind cabs. And you know, I had a very terrible relationship that broke. I'm very open at this stage, to be very honest, because sometimes you need to choose what you want to do in life. I had to choose whether I want to passionately pursue what I believe big, or whether a relationship that mattered to me. And I personally thought back, if that relationship was something important, if the person was so right, he would have also thought about my thought process, right? You know, it's not about sacrifice; it's about understanding. So the set of people whom you, whom the set of people whom you talk to, or with, or you are sharing your life, you know, should be on the same page where you're doing. So that was a moment where I had to decide, and that was a moment where you had to decide. So it was like a make or break situation for me. Remember, a partner whom you choose, or people whom you are with, or the people whom you share your thoughts can make or break where you are going. And your environment is the most important. So I decided that, okay, these XYZ things are not working, so let me just disconnect this part and go within and believe in what we are building. And that was not easy. You know, I had a huge support from my mother, for whom she's like, you know, at age of 61, you know, she was rebellious. She said, you know, my daughter would do something. We never thought one day we will be going somewhere where even I'll be getting an award from the Vice President of India. I even today, when I just sit back and think, I pinch myself and say, oh, we just, you know, the amount of impact that we have done. When I was collecting my Vice President award, when I was walking towards the stage, I was still thinking, is this the same idea which we wrote it on a tissue paper? We printed it with the 250 rupees flyers, we distributed, we worked all around 4 years, which was recognized. One thing that I want to say is never give up. This is something I always think at the back of my mind, and this is something that I think back of my mind. It's not about money, it's not about the capability, it's not about time. Everything is there, everything we need to make, and we need to decide and stay there. I just want to share some funny moment in this whole journey also. So one day, initially when we were conceptualizing this idea, we used to go to airports and we used to sit near the footpath and have a cup of coffee and talk to drivers. And drivers like, ma'am, what are you doing here? Every time you come, is there any clarity? Even people even thought probably I dated some taxi driver. So all these things came, but that moment when we realized that we are helping, like we could find an idea that we could solve that is scalable, and that can take that can impact millions of gig workforce to include, that was something very important for us. The other thing is what I personally believe women in the country, or this is for there's something called WGDP, women GDP. So what are we contributing? The number of massive work hours that women, who are masters of the kitchen, masters of the home, who are putting across, it's not valued, right? At the same time, I strongly believe that we should earn, we should be independent, we should make our lives so non-complicated that we should never depend on somebody's thought process. We should be strong on our own thought process and say that, hey, this is what I want to do. We should be able to put a foot down and say, hey, I have thought through, this is what I want to do. Unless we communicate things right, it doesn't work. And financial independence is the key for everybody, not just women. I repeat, financial independence. At Campus, we have Growth Hackers program, and we have a lot of interns. We have a lot of women who've taken break, who come and work with us. It starts with 3,000 rupees, and we believe in training people and bringing them on board. It's a learning for us also. We are also a 4-year startup. We've been growing. We have launched a regional tech platform. We are expanding to small kiranas. We are expanding to multiple other unorganized vendors. We believe strongly that only when women move out of their comfort zone and women learn something and contribute to the economy, the country is going to grow together. So if you are someone who's been thinking that where do I change, the change is within and not outside. And I have 3 things to share in my powerful journey that I personally feel is the day I realized, self-love, making time for my self-love, making time for myself, and the most important is, what am I learning today? If you have an answer for what am I learning today, we are sorted. We need to contribute, we need to learn, we need to take constructive feedback, we need to grow. The only constant thing is change, and we need to pick it up, and we need to be adaptable. Only the day we are adaptable and there's no fear to give up, there is no boundaries for our growth. This is just our first stage, initial stages, and we have a wish, we have an ambition to serve more than 5 lakh people. There are different places where we were recognized. I represented Global Entrepreneurship Summit in 20. I represented Global Entrepreneurship Summit in 2017 in Hyderabad. Out of 44,000 startups, we were recognized in fintech category. Again, got a chance to go represent Capdos at US State Department and I went for a fully paid scholarship, and I represented India at OECD. What I personally feel what I personally feel is all of this we did not chase. Since we have the sheer determination and want to do something attitude, we never ever gave up. It was the power of people that has given us here. I personally feel I'm not self-made, I'm a society made, and I've always figured out mentors and on dot tried, experimented, adapted, changed for life. This is what something I want to share with you guys. I personally feel there's every single minute that we can change and grow. Pause ಮಾಡಿ. कधीही हार मानू नका. Signing off, Yamuna. Namaste.
आपण या कार्यक्रमामध्ये येऊन आपले प्रेरणादायी अनुभव शेअर केल्याबद्दल आपले मनापासून आभार. मैत्रिणींनो, आज दसऱ्यानिमित्त आपण 2 एपिसोड घेऊन येणार आहोत. आपला पुढचा एपिसोड जो इतकाच प्रेरणादायी आणि इंटरेस्टिंग आहे, सकाळी 10 वाजता आपल्या यूट्यूब चॅनलवर अपलोड होणार आहे. तेव्हा बघायला विसरू नका आपला ह्या सिरीजमधला 10वा एपिसोड.